Brought up in the shadow of the Blitz and forged in the industrial resilience of post-war England, Cliff Watson didn't just play rugby league. He collided with it. Born in Stepney, East London, in 1940, Watson's family moved north after their home was bombed during the war. As a young apprentice toolmaker, he played rugby union for Dudley Kings Winford. Then a newspaper advertisement from St Helens changed everything. A 6-match trial worth £750. Watson took it, swapped codes, and soon became the most intimidating prop in the British game. At St Helens, he found his spiritual home. From 1960 to 1971, he played 373 games, scored 57 tries, and helped Saints win the Challenge Cup in 1961 and 1966. In the 61 final, he will always be remembered for a crunching try-saving tackle on Wigan's Billy Boston. Watson was the cornerstone of a pack that ruled the 1960s, winning county titles and the championship, and he wore the red, white and blue of Great Britain 30 times, captaining them at the 1968 World Cup. Cliff Watson was uncompromising. Twice sent off against Australia, he never apologised for playing hard. As one teammate said, he didn't know any other way. Then came the twist that would make him a cult hero 10,000 miles away. In 1971, his old St Helens mate Tommy Bishop, now captain-coach at Cronulla-Sutherland, convinced him to join the fledgling club. St Helens wanted a transfer fee of £24,000, a fortune then, but Watson simply packed his bags and emigrated on a £10 POM ticket. He arrived in the Sutherland Shire, rolled up his sleeves and debuted against Newtown in July 1971. What he brought to Cronulla couldn't be measured in stats. It was steel. The Sharks went from easy beats to contenders. Watson's presence, his scowl, his snarling defence in the middle, it transformed the young side. By 1973, the Sharks were in their first grand final against the Manly Warringah Sea Eagles. What followed became legend, the Battle of the Beaches. It was less a football match and more a bare-knuckle war. Watson played that decider with torn rib cartilage, strapping wound around his torso, barely able to breathe, and still went 80 minutes against the might of John O'Neill, Max Krilich, Terry Randall and company. Manly won 10-7, but the game has lived forever in highlight reels and whispered stories. Watson later said there was no plan to be violent. A few early cheap shots and it just erupted. He'd know. He was in the middle of every eruption. The English enforcer stayed for one more season, captain coaching Wollongong in 1974 and even leading Illawarra against the touring Great Britain team. He settled in Miranda, the heart of Shark Park territory, and later coached North Sydney's reserve grade in 1979. Always around the game, always that same granite presence. Behind the toughness was resilience born of pain. In 1972, he played weeks after having his jaw wide shut, living on tomato soup and runny Weet-Bix. Yet he'd still train, still front up, still tackle. When he passed away in 2018, aged 78, both St Helens and Cronulla paid tribute. He'd been named in the Sharks team of the half-century and inducted into the St Helens Hall of Fame. Rare air for any prop. Cliff Watson's story is one of two hemispheres and one heart of iron. The Englishman who became the foundation stone of Cronulla's early rise, who left his homeland for a promise and gave Australian Rugby League one of its most unforgettable chapters. As his old teammates used to say, if Cliff was in your side, you walk taller. I'll leave you with that thought.